morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I am once again doing the show live from the borough at the home studio. We're still working on a fun name for the Hand family estate. Murphy has Murphilago. And the best one we got yesterday was Buckingham Palace. I feel like it still needs a little bit of work, but we're working on that. Mason Fleming is back in the producer seat today. You ventured the elements. How is it out there, Mason?
It is not fun. It is ice all in neighborhoods, but main roads are pretty open right now. So I was able to get, as soon as I got to 40, I was fine. But my neighborhood is a little bit ice.
Yeah, we can't even. Our entire home is frozen shut, so I haven't even been outside, Mason. It's too dangerous. Murfreesboro.
Jones calling bullcrap on that.
Murfreesboro is it's a different animal right now. No, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm going to take this as far as I can go and continue doing the show from home. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday I got off the air and I went downstairs and my 3-year-old Millie, she says, "Dad," and she gives me a big hug. And then immediately proceeds to fall asleep on me. And then we took a nice nap on the couch. And that's how we closed out the show yesterday. Aww. Huge fan. We'll continue doing that as long as I can. But we'll probably be back in the studio tomorrow. In the meantime, there's a lot to talk about today. We are excited to have you joining us here. No matter how you're joining us, whether it's on iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial, maybe you're watching us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. A lot of people pointed out in the YouTube chat before we got on the stream that we have removed the fern from the back of the home studio, and I'll tell you exactly why we had to move the fern. You guys made my wife cry insulting the plant behind me. You made this poor woman, she worked so hard, you made her cry insulting her lovely fern that was positioned behind me on the YouTube stream, and she said I can't allow this to continue. We're moving the fern. The fern didn't sign up for all the hate, so we've moved the fern. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Also being moved, this is a radio segue, Bovino. Greg Bovino is out in Minnesota. What? I like Greg Bovino. There's rumors that it was because of his social media presence and that he doesn't even have his social media controls any longer because he was going at people when it came to the shooting of one Alex Preddy. Yeah, you can protest, you can bring a firearm, but you can't impede and obstruct, and that was the case that Greg Bovino was making yesterday. So Bovino is out, Tom Homan is in. This is one of the biggest developments that we have seen in Minnesota in quite a while. Secretary Kristi Noem is fully behind Tom Homan heading to Minnesota. This is according to DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin.
How is the secretary prepared to help him fully make that pivot?
Yeah, absolutely, Dana. And I think the president and secretary, they've had at-length discussions. I can't get into those specifics, but Secretary Noem will continue to oversee, of course, the Department of Homeland Security, and she's very happy that Tom Homan, who is a great asset to the president, has a great depth of experience and insight that he will be overseeing Minneapolis. Secretary Noem has also been overseeing FEMA. She's been living there for 3 days during this storm, as well as U.S. Coast Guard, TSA, Secret Service. So her portfolio is really huge, and she'll continue with CBP and ICE. We've arrested and deported over 700,000 criminal illegal aliens.
Yes, I want to get to that.
2.1 million self-deportations, and she'll continue with that work.
Okay.
So that's Tricia McLaughlin. That's her take. Kristi Noem is going to be working with Tom Homan. Everything is super Gucci, but if you pay attention to the conversation online, there are many individuals that are saying this is a demotion for Bovino. This is, he's being fired. He's actually going to be going to California, and then he's going to be retiring. No word on if that's true or if it's just internet fodder. There's also rumors that Kristi Noem herself is set to be replaced as DHS secretary. I'm not going to pretend to know all the answers. And this is one of those conversations that only time will tell what exactly is going to happen. But that's the conversation online. And it comes back to Donald Trump wanting chaos to end in Minnesota. He got on the phone yesterday. He talked to Tim Walz. He talked to Mayor Frey. And Caroline Leavitt made the point yesterday at the White House press briefing that Minnesota's state and local government needs to cooperate with federal law enforcement to end this
Democrat
chaos.
leaders in Minnesota with sanctuary city policies have actively defied federal immigration law and the will of the people. And as a result of that defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets of Tim Walz's state. It is President Trump's hope and wish and demand for the resistance and chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions.
So Caroline Leavitt says, hey guys, it's a bit of common sense. I know that might be tough considering the party that you represent, but it's common sense, and the asks aren't that big. We want you to turn over all illegal alien criminals that are currently incarcerated. That shouldn't be a hard ask. Then they want local authorities to turn over all illegal aliens that they do arrest moving forward. And then finally calling for Congress to pass legislation to put an end to sanctuary cities was where she went in the conversation, which needs to happen. But the asks aren't huge when it comes to Minnesota. Make no mistake about it. This is very common sense, but this is probably why the Democrats will rail against it. At least that's what we were thinking until we start seeing true social messages from President Trump saying, Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him, and that what we are looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. This is key. It's been confirmed that Tim Walz's administration released 470 criminal illegal aliens in the last year alone. Tricia McLaughlin made that point this morning.
My understanding is he's being a little bit misleading here, or a lot misleading, by saying that those 1,360 criminal illegal aliens are not sitting in the county and city jails, which is exactly where they are. We know that last year, under Walz's leadership, that those city and county jails released 470 criminal illegal aliens. So again, what the president, what Secretary Noem have been asking for is that level of cooperation before they release a criminal illegal alien onto the streets, to give us notification so that we can come and pick them up and they're not going back onto the street to re-perpetuate crimes against Americans. And secondly, when we are seeing rioters, we're seeing things spiral out of control, assaults, obstruction of law enforcement, which is federal crime, as we've mentioned before, that those state and local governments and law enforcement are allowed to answer our calls for backup so no one gets hurt.
These aren't big asks. This should be the floor. This should be just the bare minimum. It does seem like Tim Walz is going to go along to get along. President Trump yesterday on Truth Social, the governor, very respectfully understood that, and I'll be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota, and so am I. We've had such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, and virtually every other place that we have touched. And even in Minnesota, crime is way down, but both Governor Walz and I want to make it better. President Donald J. Trump. So in the midst of all of that, DHS has pulled Greg Bovino from Minneapolis. To me, I'll be honest with you, little bit feel for the guy. I think that he is being scapegoated in all of this, and I don't think he did anything wrong. NBC has the call of the play. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino is expected to leave Minneapolis on Tuesday. Today, a White House official and another Trump administration official with the decision told NBC News. The administration official and a law enforcement official said U.S. Customs and Border Protection also plans to reduce the number of agents in Minneapolis this week. The size of the reduction is still under discussion, they said. Bovino had emerged as the public face of the Department of Homeland Security's Minneapolis Operation Metro Surge. Bovino will be returning to the border in El Centro, California. A senior White House official and administration official told NBC News. The official said he is losing his commander title and will return to his previous job as Border Patrol Sector Chief in El Centro. He will not continue overseeing Border Patrol agents making immigration arrests in interior U.S. cities, they said. DHS spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin wrote on X that Bovino has not been relieved of his duties, calling Bovino a key part of the president's team. This is one of the things that they're discussing online. Has he been completely fired? Is he out completely? Tricia McLaughlin says no. A lot of other reporting says, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Mediaite said that he is going to be going back to California, and then he is going to be retiring soon thereafter. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I hope that they don't make this guy retire. I think Bovino has done a great job, as good a job as you can do in a liberal hellhole like Minneapolis, Minnesota, where you are constantly being berated by these lunatic leftists. I don't know how you could have done a better job, to be perfectly honest. I want them to go harder. I want more boots on necks, and I want this problem resolved. It looks like Bovino isn't going to be the guy to do that. White House is also saying that they're going to be pulling Border Patrol from Minnesota. That goes back to the conversation with Tim Walz. If you let us in the jails, we're not going to need all of the guys on the streets. It's a key point. And if Tim Walz is going to follow through with it, then I don't see any reason to have our Border Patrol guys in the line of fire. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt echoed that in her press briefing yesterday, that U.S. Customs and Border Protection would be pulled from supporting immigrations and customs enforcement agents in Minnesota if lawmakers in the state, such as Tim Walz and Jacob Fry, implement common sense measures. We'll see what happens. It looks good right now. It looks like they want to work together, and it looks like it's trending in the right direction, but who knows how long that lasts. Kristi Noem, is she going to remain on as DHS secretary? This is an interesting tidbit. Not a lot of people have been overly impressed with Kristi Noem. I don't think a lot of people have been overly agitated by Kristi Noem either. I think she's just kind of been meh at best. But the odds of her being fired have spiked on Polymarket. This is in the aftermath of the Alex Preddy shooting. This is in the aftermath of Greg Bovino being reassigned. Kristi Noem, The Independent has it, Kristi Noem's odds of being the first cabinet member of the Trump administration to get fired have surged among political bettors after her attempts to defend the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy in Minnesota. On both Polymarket and Kalshi, two popular prediction market sites, Homeland Security Secretary now leads the pack for the question who will be the first to leave the Trump cabinet. Having been tipped at only 12% probability on January 21st, Noem has soared to 40% on Kalshi and 43% on Polymarket as of Monday afternoon. Take it with a grain of salt. It might be a smart bet that Kristi Noem is the first one out, and there could be a lot of guys that just want a piece of that action. That doesn't necessarily mean that she is going to be fired, but this puts her well ahead of Pam Bondi, who has been criticized left, right, and center with her handling of the Epstein files. It also puts her far ahead of President Trump's labor secretary, Lori Chavez DeRemer, who has been reportedly accused of taking staff to a strip club during an official work trip. But Kristi Noem is at the top of the list. Kathy Hochul, Democratic governor out of New York, says that she has forfeited her right to lead. Okay. Got it. Kathy Hochul. Thank you. Thank you. But we'll see what happens. We do know that President Trump is speaking with Tim Walz. He's also speaking with Mayor Jacob Frey. We got a True Social post yesterday. I had a very good telephone conversation with Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis. Lots of progress being made. Tom Homan will be meeting with him tomorrow in order to continue the discussion. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, a couple moving parts today. Tom Homan is heading to Minneapolis. We also have President Trump heading to Clive, Iowa. He's going to be hosting an event at 2 o'clock Central Time. We'll be keeping our eyes on that event here, and we'll be keeping you up to date with all the latest in and around Minnesota as we continue. A lot to get to, little bit of time. Appreciate you joining us, however you're joining us, whether you're on iHeart, TuneIn, or the FM dial, or you're watching us on Super Talk TV. We appreciate you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll be back in minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. If your HVAC isn't running as efficiently as it needs to be, these past couple of days have completely exposed it. Well, if you need to stay warm, Busy Bee is going to do it for you, worry-free, and they're going to save you a good chunk of change. Right now, on HVAC units, you can get 0% financing for 18 months, a complimentary UV light with any new system install, and a free 5-year labor upgrade. That's a $750 value from our friends at Busy Bee. It pays to stick with Busy Bee to stay warm in the winter. Maybe you're good on the HVAC, but you got some plumbing needs. Same 0% financing, plus a free 50-gallon water heater with select repipes, or $600 off if that doesn't apply. You've been stuck in the house for a few days. Is indoor air quality an issue? It's probably apparent if it is. Take 15% off UV lights when you book a premium duct cleaning from our friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And don't forget, all month long, buy one Beehive Club membership, get one for free to give to a friend, family member, or neighbor. Call my guys at Busy Bee today, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7 Sunday 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
What's to become of Greg Bovino now that he's been relieved from his duties in Minneapolis? We may have some answers coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. It is 9:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Tom Homan is heading to Minneapolis today. He's going to be meeting with Mayor Jacob Frey. President Trump said he had a good telephone conversation with Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis. Lots of progress being made. Tom Homan will be meeting with him tomorrow. This was posted yesterday, so today, in order to continue the discussion. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Caroline Levitt yesterday was talking about one Tom Homan, and she is a fan.
Homan is the point person for cooperating with state and local authorities and corresponding with them, again, to achieve this level of cooperation to subdue the chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. And I would just point out that Mr. Homan is someone who has been lauded for many, many decades for his experience working in law enforcement. In fact, this is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago, 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So he's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust and faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together to have successful immigration enforcement, as we've seen in almost every other state across the country.
I love how she says Tom Homan is the guy that Barack Obama gave a medal to. You understand how much that infuriates and enrages your average leftist whenever that photo is shared around on the internet. We're also hearing that Tim Walz is open to working with the Trump administration more and closely. CNN reported that last night.
We just got a statement from the office of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz about his conversation with President Trump that we reported on earlier. The governor's office called it productive, adding, quote, the president agreed that he would talk to the Department of Homeland Security about ensuring the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is able to conduct an independent investigation, as would ordinarily be the case. The president also agreed to look into reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota and working with the state in a more coordinated fashion on immigration enforcement regarding violent criminals. Now, President Trump is sending a new direct report to Minneapolis, veteran ICE official Tom Homan. It's unclear how he will work with leaders on the ground, like the chief and the chief at large of Border Patrol, Gregory Bovino. I spoke at length.
So we'll see what happens with Tom Homan going to Minnesota. A lot of people are saying that this is Donald Trump chickening out, that he's taking the foot off the gas. I don't necessarily see that as the case. We'll see what happens with Tom Homan when he gets there, because Tom Homan is a guy that gets things done. And if he can get it done with less resources and less manpower, I think that that's a good thing. It's really going to come down to Governor Walz, Mayor Jacob Frey. Are they willing to cooperate at the level that they say they are? I have my reservations, and I'm going to take that line of, we're going to cooperate with a grain of salt, because I remember what Tim Walz said just yesterday.
Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
Yes, it was just a couple days ago where Tim Walz was comparing Minnesotans to Anne Frank. So we'll see how much cooperation we're actually going to get out of Tim Walz. The Holocaust Museum is actually very mad about that line where he said that Minnesotans are hiding like Anne Frank.
Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
Oh, shocking. A Washington, D.C. based Holocaust museum has criticized Tim Walz for comparing ICE enforcing immigration laws to Nazi Germany. In a post on X, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum pointed out that Anne Frank had been targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. The museum's post came a day after Walz had held that press conference and made that line, saying Anne Frank was targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. Leaders making false equivalencies to her experience for political purposes is never acceptable. Ever.
Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. 9:31, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 9:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is day 2 of our work week after the snowstorm. And with an update on what to expect today, here's our Ken Weaver.
TDOT says the urban sections of the interstates have at least one lane that is completely cleared. NES says it should have at least 600 line crews working on restoration as of today. All of the utilities say their crews are working around the clock. Warming stations open across the state. You can see where by going to tn.gov, navigating to the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency section. For 24/7 warming stations in Nashville, go to nashville.gov. For rides to warming stations, call 615-401-1712 at the Office of Emergency Management.
Also, if you're worried about someone's well-being, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation wants you to call them to perform a wellness check. The number is 800-TBI-FIND. This may be a signal of how things are changing on the ground in Minneapolis. Leftist agitators attacking a hotel where Border Patrol official Gregory Bovino is believed to be staying last night. But instead of storming the building for hours, as we have seen in recent weeks, Minneapolis police unleashed on them. CNN is reporting 26 people were arrested. They had refused to disperse when ordered. So what becomes of now former Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino? Fox 11 in Los Angeles reports he's being moved back to his former position overseeing Border Patrol operations in California. Trump administration officials deny that he was relieved of his duties. They say he will remain with CBP as leadership over Minnesota ICE raids. As Minnesota ICE raids make that lean now over to Tom Homan. The Atlantic, however, is reporting that Bovino may be considering retiring soon. That's the latest news. Your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, knee pain, numbness in your arms or legs, you need to know about my guys over at the Wellness Institute. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, they're going to get you back to a pain-free life in 2026. They're going to do it with one of their new machines. They're actually the first and only office in Tennessee with this brand new device called the Hydro Wave. That's going to stimulate your stem cells for real cellular healing. No surgery, no needles, no opioids. You pair this with the non-surgical spinal and DD compression, and this is about as advanced as it gets. These guys are using anti-gravity machines, robotic lasers, and they kick it old school. They'll actually take the time to review your MRI and explain what's happening and how to fix it. A pain-free life is yours in 2026. It is possible, but you got to take the first step and make a phone call today. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. That's the number for the Wellness Institute of Nashville, or you can book some time online. Painisbad.com. It's 9:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can find me on all the social media platforms that matter. TikTok, Twitter, True Social, Instagram, YouTube, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. I usually repost a good chunk of what we use for show prep. And if there's ever something that you hear on the show that you're looking for, you can't find, you can always hit me up on the social media platforms, and I'm happy to send it your way. There's a big discussion today. Who is chickening out? Is it Donald Trump? Is it ICE? Is it CBP? Is it DHS? Or is it Governor Walz and Mayor Frey? This is the conversation that's happening online. The leftists are quick to tell you that the Trump administration is chickening out. A lot of individuals on the right are agreeing with the fact that the Trump administration is chickening out. Others are saying absolutely not. Do you know who we're sending? We're sending Tom Homan. But one of the topics of discussion are the Democrats in Minnesota. Enter Minnesota Representative Angie Craig. She sounds emboldened. She sounds like the Democrats are viewing what we saw yesterday, the movement of Greg Bovino out and Tom Homan in, as a win for the Democrats.
But I think many Republicans are realizing what we've always known in Minnesota. Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've picked the wrong city. You've picked the wrong state here to pick on, because in negative 11-degree weather, 50,000 of us brave and go out and peacefully protest. We will stand up for our neighbors. This is the kind of weather where we go, shovel somebody else's driveway, where we shovel a sidewalk. We are not going to back down to the federal government as long as ICE is abusing their authority and violating the law and targeting our neighbors, our black and brown neighbors in particular.
Our black and brown neighbors in particular. Oh my gosh. They do. I mean, the Democrats sound emboldened. They sound ready to go. The way she's talking up a big game makes me really wish that they broke out the fire hoses for these lunatics. Not to hurt them in any way, but just to soak them wet. It is that cold in Minnesota. But Angie Craig, many Republicans are realizing you picked the wrong state to pick on. Did we? I'm confident that Tom Homan is going to get in there and absolutely shake Minnesota to its core. And hopefully he does it without the chaos that we have seen. However, I will firmly put the responsibility of the chaos that we've seen at the feet of the Democrats in that state. And it's hard to say anything else. And when you talk about the violence, it's like, okay, Renee Nicole Good, leftist ideologue, member of ICE Watch. Alex Preddy, leftist ideologue, member of ICE Watch. And you don't have to take my word for it. His own neighbors are saying that he was a member of ICE Watch. Alex Preddy has been identified by one of his neighbors as an anti-ICE activist that was part of those anti-ICE signal chats we talked about yesterday before he was shot by Border Patrol on Saturday morning. Preddy was armed at the time of the shooting and was shot while resisting arrest. The Minneapolis local, Gene Massey, who lives a block away from Preddy, said that he was a member of the anti-ICE agitator group that keeps tabs on federal immigration force. She said it's not clear what role he had in those group chats, according to the Mirror, but Preddy had also been involved in the Black Lives Matter unrest that took place in Minneapolis after the death of George Floyd. Massey spoke about the incident on behalf of her neighbors, saying, "Let me be clear, we are horrified, we are furious, and we are not going to pretend this is anything but what it is. Another senseless act of violence carried out by federal agents in our city." Cue the eye roll. I'm with you. Nobody's mad about you exercising your First Amendment. Nobody's mad about you exercising your Second Amendment. The issue comes into play when you're impeding and obstructing. That's what happened to Alex Preddy. Renee Nicole Good, the issue came into play when she decided to turn her vehicle into a weapon. So when the leftists in town say, "Oh, nothing's going to stop us. This is just another act of violence carried out by federal agents," I just would say, no. It's another act of self-defense against unhinged leftist lunatics. She went on to say this is the third time in just weeks that someone has been shot during these so-called enforcement operations, and it's devastating to see another life taken while our community is trying to stand up for justice and safety. If he wasn't in the mix, he wouldn't have been shot. His own family members told him, do not interfere with federal agents while you're out there acting a fool. His own family warned him. I digress. Massey said she was one of the dozens of anti-ICE activists who went to the scene of the shooting after Preddy was killed. The shooting of Preddy takes place just weeks after Renee Good, another anti-ICE activist, was shot to death while she drove her car into an ICE agent. She and her partner Becca were blocking the road at the time when with their car when ICE agents approached. As both shootings have occurred, there have been increasing tensions between federal law enforcement and agitators on the ground, actively attempting to interfere with ICE. We'll see if order is restored with Tom Homan coming in there. I'm hopeful. I pray that that's the case because I think more death, more destruction, more chaos isn't good for anybody, no matter which side of the aisle you're on. But they'll act like Alex Preddy was just exercising his First and Second Amendment. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. And if the shoe was on the other foot and Alex Preddy had been a conservative and this was an anti-COVID protest, they would have been demonizing this guy. Make no mistake about it. Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, was arguing in 2024 that you have no right to carry a gun at political rallies in protests. So miss me with all the faux outrage. It was January 26, 2024. The Attorney General, Keith Ellison, wrote, without the power to institute such restrictions, California and other states would be left unable to effectively prevent gun violence in crowded places around vulnerable populations or where individuals are exercising their other constitutionally protected rights, putting the public at risk. They emphasized even the perceived risk of gun violence could cause repercussions, as individuals may be discouraged from visiting crowded or confined locations where they know others might be armed. I mean, that was just 2 years ago. Attorney General Keith Ellison, and now it's like, oh, he has every right to be there with a gun. It's like, okay, yeah, I agree, but it's the impeding and obstructing. That was the issue. Everybody knows it. It's the rhetoric from the left, these leaders that are going to cause more violence, and everybody knows it. And in the meantime, the leftists are just as unhinged and just as fanatical. Saw this video of a leftist woman yesterday talking about ICE. You tell me if this sounds like someone who has it all put together.
Hey, so they're going to kill us anyway, so I think maybe we should just mob them. If you comply, they're going to shoot you. If you try to leave, they're going to shoot you. Mob them. Like that. Like full American Revolution, like hiding in trees. I don't know. I don't know. We got to mob them. This is the mostly peaceful leftist crowd. Everybody understands that, right? When she says mob them and hide in the trees like the American Revolution, she means in a mostly peaceful kind of way. Make no mistake about it. It's not the left that's raising the tension. It's not the left that's pushing the rhetoric. No. This is very peaceful stuff. And everybody understands it. And if you don't understand that, well, you might not be paying attention, obviously. Meanwhile, leftist politicians just want ICE abolished completely. Senator Ruben Gallego out of Arizona, he said, every country has a deportation force, but what you need to have is a deportation force that does things in a professional manner. Oh, got it. That's the key. You have to do things in a professional manner. Even when you are having vehicles driven at you or you're trying to make an arrest, and somebody steps in the middle of that, you have to be as professional as humanly possible. I think that these agents have showed a remarkable, an unprecedented level of professionalism in the face of what they've been facing. So that you can say that they need to step their game up, they need to do things in a professional manner, and I would just say, how have they not done that so far? Meanwhile, leftist politicians continue to push narratives and rhetoric. Eric Swalwell on CNN yesterday.
How do you do that without...
Of course the computer freezes.
There are clear policies here the border numbers that Trump has achieved, that's something obviously that Americans are in favor of, even if they aren't in favor of the tactics that we're seeing in the city. How do you thread that needle and make sure you're not turning people off and you're actually listening to people on the whole picture?
Americans want border security, Brianna. You're absolutely right. And I support that. And having resources at the border and having more asylum judges, to process the outstanding cases, absolutely. We should keep doing that. But this is about what's happening inside our country. And this ICE, as it exists, is unworkable. And so my advice to ICE, frankly, is quit. Walk away. Do it now before you shoot in the face another mom of 3. This ICE is unworkable, and it needs to be completely crushed and reshaped with a mission that goes after the most violent, unmasked, and identification out.
I kind of, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but he said, quit, walk away, do it now before you shoot another mother of 3 in the face. It's like, oh, yeah. I mean, listen, a mother of 3 will get shot if she drives a car at a federal agent. But I'm beginning to lose my patience on, we got to go after the worst first. Is it just me? Are you too losing your patience with that? At what point do we say, okay, guys, we've been doing it for a year. Now we need to focus on everybody. I mean, I understand the sentiment of we have to target the worst first, but it's been a year. We need to target everyone that's in the country illegally. 20 million illegal aliens, conservative estimate. Make no mistake about that. That is a conservative estimate. 20 million illegal aliens here. How long do we have to focus on the worst first? Because I'm under the impression that a year is plenty of time to focus on the worst first. And now we need to expand that to everybody. I hate the talking point of, we got to focus on the worst first. I hate that. It's driving me up a wall. We have focused on the worst first for a year. Now we need to focus on everyone. It's infuriating to me, and it can't just be me. It can't just be me. We need to give Border Patrol and ICE all of the resources that they need. We need to give them an unprecedented level of support, and we need to say, yeah, we were targeting the worst first, but it's been a year, and now we're targeting everybody. That's the route we need to go. I'm honestly, it infuriates me to no end. If I have to hear, we got to focus on the worst first one more time. We did that for a year. Now it's time to focus on every illegal alien. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, Andy Beshear, the governor, state right to the north of us in Kentucky. What would he do if an ICE operation was launched in Kentucky? Plus, CNN aired a ridiculous liberal, an unbelievable liberal, which I don't know about you. I thought it was to the level of trolling. What did this liberal say on CNN? We'll play it for you when we get back. It's 9:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a math test, you're not alone. If you're tired of confusing percentages, surprise bills, fine print that kicks you in the rear end when you're not looking, you got to make it simple. Cover Nash and Shane Ring can do that for you. They have a brand new nationwide PPO plan that will give you the freedom to pick your own doctor anywhere in the U.S. No referrals, no red tape, just a $250 deductible, a flat $50 copay for any doctor, even specialists. Outpatient surgeries, $250 copay. Hospital stays, just $1,000 total. Free preventative care, colonoscopies, mammograms. Not that anybody's excited, but they're there for you because it's ACA compliant. And here's the kicker: no surprise bills, no hidden fees, just real protection from real providers. And if that plan's not the perfect fit, Shane works with over 75 top-rated insurance companies. They can find something for your budget and your needs. If I'm a betting man, Shane is waiting for your phone call at his desk right now. 615-465-0023. That's the number to call Shane Ring today and start saving money on health insurance. 615-465-0023. Or you can book some time with Shane online, covernash.com.
Coming up, the death toll from our winter storm is on the rise. That's coming up here at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 9:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I was gonna play you that clip of Andy Bashir on what would happen if there's an ICE operation in Kentucky. We're still going to get to that, but something came across my desk that I didn't plan for, and I feel like we have to react in real time. Neil Young, anti-Trumper, Orange Man bad, TDS on another level. Neil Young. He is giving back to the people of Greenland before they're taken over by Donald Trump. Stunning and brave, left-wing rocker Neil Young has gifted his entire music catalog to the people of Greenland for free. Okay. While variously hitting out at Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and President Trump. The Canadian singer-songwriter made a public declaration in response to Trump's pressure on Greenland to work with his administration as it seeks to secure the vital geopolitical asset from threats now and in the future, Breitbart reports. Trump said at a White House meeting earlier this month that he may put a tariff on any country if they don't go along with Greenland, which is a semi-autonomous territory of NATO ally Denmark. We all know about this. But Young was not having it. He was very upset. And he posted on his website a promise to the native Greenlanders. He said, I'm going to give you a free year's access to Neil Young archives to all of our friends in Greenland. I hope my music and films will ease some of the unwarranted stress and threats you are experiencing from our unpopular and hopefully temporary government. It is my sincere wish for you to be able to enjoy all of my music in your beautiful Greenland home in its highest quality. This is an offer of peace and love. Wow. Stunning and brave. Do you think anybody in Greenland knows who Neil Young is? Are the Eskimos that run around Greenland, do they have Neil Young jamming in their AirPods? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? He also added, you can renew for free as long as you are in Greenland. We do hope other organizations will follow through in the spirit of our example. Love Earth, Neil. This is not the first time that Young has inserted himself into global politics. You'll remember he would criticize Jeff Bezos and Trump last year. Then he pulled his discography from Amazon Music last fall. This guy's unhinged. He is completely devoured by the woke mind virus. The TDS may be stronger in Neil Young than it is in anyone else on the entire planet. And the people of Greenland will now be benefiting from that TDS. It's 10 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and the death toll from our winter storm rose overnight. The Tennessee Department of Health confirming there have been 5 weather-related deaths now in the state. There were 2 in Davidson County and then 1 each in Crockett, Haywood, and Obion counties. The identities of the deceased have not been released, but in Haywood County, officials are saying a 66-year-old man suffered a heart attack while shoveling snow. As of this morning, Tennessee remains in a level 3 state of emergency. Meantime, ABC News reports there are more deaths reported nationwide.
At least 30 people killed across 11 states. The small city of Bonham, Texas, mourning the loss of 3 siblings who drowned in an icy pond. The school superintendent saying, quote, "We are devastated by this unimaginable loss."
That's ABC's Ginger Z. Border czar Tom Homan is taking over in Minnesota today, just as Gregory Bovino heads to California.
This is Jim Ryan in Texas, where Governor Greg Abbott says he'd like to see ICE agents change their approach to catching people in the country illegally.
Go about their job in a more structured way to make sure that they are going to be able to remove these people without causing all the kinds of problems and fighting in communities that they are experiencing right now.
Abbott on the Mark Davis Show podcast. At the same time, Abbott, a staunch supporter of President Trump, blames Democratic leaders in Minnesota for the violence there. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
The National Transportation Safety Board holding a hearing today on the factors that they believe led to the deadly midair collision last year between a Black Hawk helicopter and a passenger jet. Happened above Washington, D.C. 67 people were killed. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homan with a stark warning.
We must do everything in our power, even ruffle feathers, to get our recommendations implemented, or this will happen again.
She says the fault lies in multiple layers of failures. Amazon plans to convert its Amazon Fresh and Amazon Go brick and mortar chain stores into Whole Foods markets. Amazon said it's part of an effort to prioritize investments. Last year, Amazon closed a handful of fresh stores overseas and in California. That's the latest news. Stick around for your weather. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, you get those at betterwater.com. Text of the day. Text of the day. It's only 10:05. We already got the text of the day. 2116 texted in. We're talking about Neil Young. He's stunning and brave. He's giving his music to the people of Greenland for free because, Orange Man bad, obviously. 2116 texted and said, if Neil Young really cared about the people of Greenland, he would have gifted them someone else's music. It's true. It's true. Leftists, they never make much sense, Neil Young included. I got a leftist that was on TV yesterday. He was on with Fake Tapper, and he is. I would call this inciting violence. I think that you could call this inciting violence. We're not going to take this loser serious, but there are leftists out there that will. He had a guy that looked like, you ever play? What was the snowboarding game? Was it Cool Borders? Cool Borders back in the day on PlayStation 1. think that's what it was called. Well, he's got a leftist that is dressed like a snowboarder out of Cool Borders on Jake Tapper's show. I feel like this is trolling a little bit. I could be wrong. This could just be a leftist that actually believes this. But listen to what he said to Jake Tapper.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
Not saying they're putting people in ovens yet. Not saying they're putting people in ovens yet. Jeez. It's a little bit much. No, Alligator Alcatraz is not a concentration camp also. But people hear this and they believe it. I mean, this is the issue that we're up against. Newsmax just posted a story, came across my desk, and it's like you hear these stories and you think about leftists that get on Jake Tapper's show and say things like this, and you have to feel like they're inspiring the lunatics out there. Department of Homeland Security has launched an investigation into a U.S. citizen who allegedly attempted to purchase a firearm with the stated intent to kill Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents, the agency said Tuesday. You have unhinged leftists that are going out there and buying firearms with the intent to use them against ICE agents. And then you hear people like this guy and you go, yeah, that would be inciting to violence.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
Not saying they're putting people in ovens yet. Maybe they never will get there if you stand up and you resist. I mean, these are the ideas that they're planting in people's heads. And then you see lunatics take action. This story is nuts. DHS said a female suspect tried twice to buy a gun in Kenmore, New York, telling a firearms dealer she wanted to buy a gun to protect herself from ICE agents and also to kill ICE agents. The investigation is being conducted by ICE, Homeland Security Investigations, in coordination with the New York State Police. DHS officials said the case reflects dangerous escalation in violence fueled by radical rhetoric targeting federal immigration enforcement. And then the leftists will go, what radical rhetoric? Are you talking about the president? And it's like, no. We're talking about you guys.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet.
Is it any shock that assaults against ICE agents have surged by 1,300%? Vehicular attacks against ICE agents have skyrocketed by 3,200%. Trish McLaughlin, every day there are more assaults, more vehicle ramming attacks, and more attempts to kill our officers. Now we have an American citizen purchasing a gun with the intent to kill our officers. McLaughlin blamed the inflammatory political language for helping create an environment where threats against law enforcement are increasingly normalized. And as you see, just on CNN yesterday, barely even pushed back upon.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
Okay. I
don't need to argue with you about that.
That's the amount of pushback we get from Jake Tapper. Then these leftists in the audience hear this radical rhetoric and they think, oh my gosh, I have to do something. I have to arm myself against these Nazis, these Gestapos. Thank goodness they caught this lady before she acted upon what she wanted to do. Tricia McLaughlin emphasized that ICE and Customs and Border Protection officers are ordinary Americans carrying out the law, not political actors. Comparing ICE day in and day out to the Nazi Gestapo, the secret police, and slave patrols has consequence. The men and women of ICE and CBP are fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters. They get up every morning and try to make their communities safer. Like everyone else, they just want to go home to their families at night. DHS officials said agents are increasingly being targeted not for misconduct, but simply for enforcing federal immigration law as directed by the Congress. The violence and dehumanization of these men and women who are simply enforcing the law must stop. and networks like CNN need to stop airing radical leftist lunatics like this guy.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
Yeah, no, we're not saying that they're doing that yet. Just that they're going to do it, obviously. We would never say that they're doing it right now. Ever. Andy Bashir, he was on CNN yesterday. He was asked what would he do if a massive ICE operation was launched in Kentucky. I think that he would just tuck his tail between his legs and take it, but he talks tough on CNN.
What are you going to do if and when a massive ICE operation is launched in Kentucky?
Well, the first thing we have to do is demand that they pull these officers out of all of our cities and that they fully retrain every single one of them. They are operating with aggressive tactics that are not appropriate for law enforcement. They are not following our Constitution.
I mean, you can make the argument that Andy Bashir's comments are more inflammatory than that radical leftist that I've been playing. Because Andy Bashir actually has some status. And he's saying that they're acting unconstitutionally. Are you sure about that, Andy? Are you sure? The first thing we have to do is demand that they'll take these officers out of all of our cities. We've seen this rhetoric over and over, that the ICE agents aren't trained, that they're sloppy, they're unconstitutional, and I don't agree with that at all. Fox News yesterday, they had National Border Patrol Council President Paul Perez on his and they played a clip for him from Pod Save America where they referred to ICE agents as untrained thugs. And he wasn't exactly pleased with that kind of rhetoric.
Let's listen to this from Tommy Vietor, who is a former Obama, speaking about this on his podcast. Watch.
These people are wildly untrained. They're unprofessional. They're the most trigger-happy group of cowboy thug monsters I've ever seen. They're clearly making the streets of Minneapolis less safe. The Border Patrol Union tweeted out a statement attacking the media for their untrained thugs murdering people. So these are like lawless people acting with impunity.
Lawless people acting with impunity, blaming the media. How dare they? It's like, okay, yes, we are. Did you see the clip with Jake Tapper where they're saying that they're not putting people in ovens yet? They're not doing it yet, but they will. They will. This is how it started. Paul Perez comments on those statements from Pod Save America.
Your reaction to that, Mr. Perez?
Yeah, first of all, no respect for that man. Our agents are not untrained thugs. We've got some of the best law enforcement training in the world. I mean, our agents go around the world training other police agencies on tactics and patrols and everything. We've got very good training. It's.
But let me just ask you a question, sir.
But they call them untrained thugs. They say that they're acting unconstitutionally. We need to back these guys. We need to give them our full support. But it seems like some conservatives are backing away from ICE. I saw a story yesterday. Sean Hannity said operation raids at Home Depot, not a good idea. Excuse me? Sir? You feeling okay? If you heard this in real time, you'd probably be confused that you were even watching Fox News. Hannity said, and I quote, "Now ICE, is ICE perfect? They're not. Can they do a better job? They can. So I think that, some of the optics at times, do I think going into Home Depots and arresting people is a good idea? I don't. I don't think that people that if you're working at a place, you're not the immediate problem. Eventually we'll have to deal with those people that didn't respect our laws, borders, and sovereignty. There's got to be a program where people get to come forward. I think they should then be given transportation home. They can get a check for what? $2,000? And then they can apply to come back in the country legally. We can vet them. We can do a health check on them to make sure they won't be a financial burden on the American people. I think that'd be a more responsible, reasonable way to deal with that problem. And I would just say, Mr. Hannity, They're already doing that. They already have the travel stipend. They're already encouraging self-deportations. And I made this point a little while ago, and I'll make it again. It's been a year. It's been a year focusing on the worst first. Yes, the time is now for Home Depot raids. The time is now to expand the operation to everyone. Yes, we focused on the worst first. We spent a year doing it. Now it's every illegal alien in the country. Why are conservatives backing away from this? It's clearly a winning issue. This is an 80-20 issue. We need to push the gas pedal to the floor and keep going. The optics be damned. We need to continue to fight against this. We need to say we're going even harder. We're going to raid Home Depot. We're going to raid Lowe's. We're going to go anywhere where an illegal alien is. That's the move. Not to say that, gee whiz, Home Depot raids. I don't know, guys. The optics are a little bit iffy. No, actually. I'm here for it. We need all of them out. They have had a year to take advantage of the travel stipend, the self-deportation, the process to get back into the country. They've had a year. If you didn't take the ticket, now's the time to be forced out. Home Depot raids are a bridge too far for Sean Hannity? Home Depot raids? No, I think that is actually just what we need to be doing. And we need to be doing it everywhere. Enforcement operations need to step up. If you think that the optics war is bad now, we can all agree that the deportation numbers aren't where we need them to be. We need them to be 2 times higher, 3 times higher, 4 times higher, 5 times higher. If you're already getting cold feet, then we're never going to rid this country of the illegal aliens that were allowed in under Joe Biden. Now is not the time for cold feet. Now is the time for decisive action. Now is. Not in a week, not in a month, not once we get the worst first. We've had a year to do that. Home Depot raids will continue until morale improves. People listen to this guy too. I mean, he's connected. That's an issue. It's a massive issue. We need to continue enforcing the laws as enacted by Congress. And if they don't like it, they should change the laws. But until then, we need to keep our foot on the gas. We are ramping up operations in the great state of Maine. Their Democrat governor is very upset about it. Janet Mills demanding ICE out in an end to deportations. She posted a letter to President Trump on her social media where she demanded the federal government stop enforcing federal immigration laws in her state. She said, in response to federal agents killing another person in Minnesota, I've requested a meeting with the President of the United States and demanded that his administration immediately withdraw ICE agents from Maine. How about no? How about no? Alex Preddy put himself in the middle of an immigration enforcement operation. He chose to impede and obstruct. He got himself killed for it. It's a tragedy, but it's a tragedy of his own making. Janet Mills posted a lengthy letter to social media. I'm appalled and heartbroken by reports of yet another killing at the hands of federal immigration agents. President Trump and Secretary Noem's weaponization of federal law enforcement against the people they are meant to serve is not only a grave violation of the Constitution, but a threat to the lives of law-abiding people in the cities and states they seek to occupy, including Maine. As governor, I am requesting that the President of the United States meet with me so that I can demand in person that his administration withdraw these untrained and reckless ICE agents in Maine and across the country who are stoking fear in communities, arresting legally present people, including law enforcement officials, and who pose a grave threat to public safety. I call on Congress to immediately bring Secretary Noem before them for a public hearing and cut off any further funding for ICE until their lawless tactics and dangerous behavior cease. I am proud of Maine. I'm proud of Maine people for standing up in peaceful protest across our state, and I continue to encourage peaceful protest as we show the world that we will always stand up for our values, support the rule of law, due process, compassion, integrity, and justice. They'll always support the rule of law? Until the law is being enforced on the illegal invaders that are already here. Then it's a bit of an issue. We got a lot more to talk about on the way. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd want. Text lines are open, 615-737-9986. The YouTube chat is also jumping as always. If you want to jump in there, make some friends, join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. Hit like, hit subscribe. It's 1021. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. We have had the kids inside for a few days, and they're tracking in snow. They're tracking in dirt. My dog actually cut his paw on the ice, so there was a little bit of blood, too. Hopefully Zero Res can get that out. I have full faith and confidence that they will. These guys come through whenever we need them with their exclusive ZR water, cleaning the carpets with no soap, no harsh chemicals, and they leave behind no residue. So the carpets and the upholstery don't just look insanely clean, they stay clean longer. Now the kids can sprawl out on the floor, dogs can roll around. We don't have to worry about what's in the fiber. And they don't just do carpets, they do everything. Air ducts, tile, rugs, upholstery, the works. This is perfect if you're dealing with what we're dealing with the weather conditions and the tracking in of the dirt and the snow. Call these guys today. They'll take total care of you. 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376, or you can always book online, zeroresnashville.com.
NES surges linemen into Nashville to deal with massive outages. And UPS is in the midst of a giant round of layoffs. Those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. It is 10:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, broadcasting live from Buckingham Palace. That's where I think that's what we're going to go with.
That's pretty good.
I'm just jealous. Matt Murphy has Murph-a-Lago, and I feel like I need a really cool name.
Yeah, I just don't feel like you want to be associated with the English right now.
No, I don't ever really want to. I will tell you this, though. Broadcasting from home has its benefits. My young man, my 8-year-old Brooks, brought me in a cup of homemade cocoa, and I'm sitting here. I mean, it's delicious, but I'm thinking to myself, Mason never brings me any cocoa.
Listen, if you bring the packets, I'll make you cocoa. But it's not going to be any of that homemade stuff.
Don't tempt me with a good time. We got hot cocoa reserves at the house. We're thawing out eventually. I think at this rate, the house will be able to leave the house after the ice clears from the doorways in about 2, maybe 3 weeks. So we're blessed to have the studio here. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We will rebuild, I promise. In the meantime, I got a lot to talk about, and I'm reading your texts. A lot of people very disappointed with Sean Hannity saying the Home Depot raids got to stop. The Home Depot raids got to stop. It's like, no, the Home Depot raids need to continue. Actually, I'm tired of the worst first talking point. We have had a year. We have had a year to focus on the worst first. Now it needs to be everybody, up to and including your tia or abuela. I don't care how good the tamales are. They got to go if they're not in the country legally. In the meantime, we're staring down the barrel of another government shutdown. Everybody's aware that this is coming. There's going to be a shutdown over DHS and ICE funding. One Democrat is not a huge fan of it. That Democrat is John Fetterman. I think that we need to start saying Fetterman Democrats. I think instead of moderate Democrats, I think we need to start referring to them as Fetterman Democrats.
I mean, so relieved. I think my party crossed a line of now putting 42 million Americans with their SNAP benefits and making flying less safe and that kinds of chaos and not paying our military. I mean, that was a red line for me that I can't cross as a Democrat. And I think that's been described country over the party. And now that I think that's been the truth throughout it. And it's only wrong to shut our government down. And I'm relieved. But the people now that are going to get paid and fed and millions of Americans, they're going to be flying now. That's going to be made more safe and restored.
That was John Fetterman at the end of the last government shutdown. He's now saying that his party crossed a line with that government shutdown, and he's also saying he will never vote to shut down the government, and he rejects calls to defund or abolish ICE. Fun fact for our Democrat friends, the funding for ICE and DHS, it's not going anywhere because it was baked into the cake in that one big, beautiful bill, Bill Malugin reports. Yeah.
Hey, Martha. So here's the thing. Even if Senate Democrats are able to block this DHS funding bill and cause a partial government shutdown, it's not going to hurt ICE. That's because ICE already got $75 billion worth of funding through 2029 as part of the one big beautiful bill. But still, Democrats are digging their heels in.
As Democrats tend to do. We'll talk about this more on the other side. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And Nashville Electric Service admits it still has 130,000 customers with no power, no heat today after the winter storm on Saturday. There are 190 damaged utility poles across that area. Now 400 additional linemen are joining the restoration efforts today. News 2 is reporting health providers report an uptick in carbon monoxide poisoning in Middle Tennessee. Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt says it's seen 26 juvenile patients since the winter storm began on Saturday. Experts say efforts to heat homes using generators, ventless gas logs, and fireplaces can add to the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Big changes coming to Big Brown. ABC's Jim Ryan says United Parcel Service plans another round of layoffs.
UPS beat analysts' expectations in the fourth quarter of 2025, helped along by a brisk holiday shipping period. But the company is facing stiff competition from its biggest client, Amazon, which is building its own delivery infrastructure. So UPS plans to cut 30,000 positions from its payroll, mainly through attrition. And after November's crash of one of its MD-11 cargo jets in Louisville, UPS is speeding up the retirement of that type of aircraft from its fleet. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Now that the last body of an Israeli hostage has been returned to Israel, the man's relatives are speaking out. Ran Gavili's mother says her son's remains were found at a cemetery in Gaza and returned. She spoke to media outside their family home in southern Israel.
We want to thank to President Trump, Witkoff, Kushner, and all the people behind the scenes.
Returning all the hostages' bodies was a key part of the ceasefire deal the Trump administration is now trying to push Israel to move to the second phase of. Trump's key negotiator, Steve Witkoff, and son-in-law Jared Kushner were in Israel yesterday. That's the latest news. Your forecast is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. You know them, I know them, we all know them as USS. And if you've got water in your basement or crawl space, this is not just an inconvenience, it is a red flag warning. January's a wet month. I know we got a lot of ice out there right now, but when it warms up, guess what that ice is turning into? You guessed it, water. You guys are quick. And when that water shows up where it doesn't belong, it's going to quietly undermine your home's foundation. This is why you need to trust the experts over at United Structural Systems. They've been protecting Tennessee homes since 1994, decades in the game. These guys aren't going anywhere. They're not going to guess. They're not going to patch up the problems. They're going to find where the water's coming from, build a customized waterproofing solution for you that will actually last, and they're so confident it will last, they'll back it with a lifetime transferable warranty. Even if you leave the home, the warranty can stay. Who else does this but USS? These guys are using American-made materials, proven systems, and they stand behind their work. No shortcuts, no pressure, just honest answers and permanent solutions. So if you're seeing moisture, cracks, sagging floors, don't wait for it to get worse. Don't hope it's going to fix itself. It never does. Call United Structural Systems today. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or find them online, USSTN.com. It's 10:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch us as well. Super Talk TV up and running. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Those are the big ones. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. And if you're watching us on YouTube and Rumble, yes, the fern has been removed from the home studio. Everybody said mean things about the fern. They called the fern fake, and it hurt my wife's feelings. So she had to remove the fern. Can't believe you guys would do that.
Shame.
But they did it. So no fern. I know Mason's disappointed about the lack of fern.
Just a little bit.
Everybody's sad. But one good apple can spoil the bunch, right? Donald Trump said he had very good talks with Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Fry from Minnesota.
But I had two very good talks. I had Jacob Fry and I had Governor Walz, and I mean they were great calls. So let's see how they report it. But they were very nice calls, very respectful.
So is there a possibility, President Trump, of some type of compromise? I read that some of the Guard will be leaving the state of Minnesota, some type of compromise to, I guess, make those guys feel like they're in charge, even though, God help us.
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think so. What we need is their criminals. You know, they have criminals, and all I said, just give us your criminals. And if you give us the criminals, it all goes away. They're there to pick up murders. I don't know if you saw, but it was a couple of days ago announced that crime is the lowest in the history of our country, the recorded history of our country.
Wow.
That's a big statement. That's because of us. That's because we go into cities and towns. Usually we're embraced. Sometimes we're not. Chicago is like pulling teeth with Pritzker and with the mayor of Chicago, low IQ person. And usually we're embraced, but sometimes we're not. And when we're not, it just makes it harder.
When they are embraced, though, we've seen the fruits of that. Memphis, Tennessee, is that maybe you're familiar? Maybe you're familiar. Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Louisiana. When the federal government is embraced, yeah, things are much smoother. A lot of the leftists are positioning Donald Trump, moving Tom Homan in, Greg Bovino out, as Trump always chickening out. I don't necessarily see that. I'm open to it being the reality, and I guess only time will tell. You know, there's a lot of competing narratives on the internet right now. One is that Trump is chickening out, and that they're going to pull ICE agents away, or excuse me, Customs and Border Patrol agents out of the state. And the other is that they're doubling down, and Tom Homan is going to go in there and wreak absolute havoc. Only time will tell. President Trump said he had a good call with Tim Walz, good call with Mayor Frey. Tom Homan is going to be meeting with Mayor Jacob Frey today. I think we're going to know whether or not this was the right move within a week or two. We'll see. I do know that there's one person that's very upset, didn't get a phone call yesterday, and that would be Ilhan Omar. Maybe you've heard of her. She got the little shing, Ilhan. And she was very upset yesterday. She tweeted out, ICE will leave Minnesota if you hand over your voter rolls, tells you everything you need to know. This was never about immigration or fraud. It was always about rigging elections. Okay. For starters, yes, the Trump administration has been requesting voter rolls everywhere. I'm confused as to why she's conflating the two issues. But J.D. Vance responded, and he put it in quotes. He quoted her tweet. He said, "We really want illegal aliens to vote in elections, and we'll riot to ensure that it is so." Yeah, it seems a little bit more accurate, a little bit closer to the truth, and it makes those in Minnesota feel a little bit uncomfortable. I think there's a lot of fraud. I think that there's a lot of irregularities, shall we say, when it comes to the elections in Minnesota, and that's been exposed. I mean, Scott Pressler was out there weeks ago talking about the voucher rule in Minnesota. All you got to do is say, no, they're good, and you can register same-day voting, no ID, no problem. And you can do them out and do that with the Somali population in Minnesota. Yeah, you could understand how elections could be rigged. Ilhan Omar, too, if we're just being honest, she's got a lot more issues than the voter rolls in Minnesota. I think that we're seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Ilhan Omar. We know that she married her brother. Yuck. We understand that she did that to get him through school. Daily Mail's reported that extensively. They brought receipts. You can do your own research, and I hope that you do. But then, what about her net worth? That's been another interesting conversation when it comes to Ilhan Omar. You went from being a thousandaire to a millionaire in 1 year. Now, I've made the point on this show many, many times that you can do that too. If you're making a good salary and you find yourself at a great credit union, you too can turn thousands of dollars into millions of dollars in just a year. I mean, just get the good interest rate. That's all you need to do, right? Right. Right. But Ilhan Omar, she's got some questions to ask, questions to answer. And we have questions for her. Benny Johnson, Turning Point USA contributor, all-around good guy. He posted a report yesterday. How did Ilhan Omar make millions from a 100% fake winery? He wrote, "This is insane. We investigated. Check this out. Ilhan Omar lists a California winery on her financial disclosures. You can see them below. The winery name is Est Cru LLC. ESTCRU LLC. Est Cru. In 2023, it was valued at $15,000. Okay? 2023, Est Cru LLC, this winery that Ilhan Omar owns, is valued at $15,000. 2024, it's valued at $5 million, which, as I'm sure you understand, makes Ilhan Omar an unbelievable businesswoman to turn this company around. It's stunning and brave. Now, she does this, and I think that it's important to really highlight how she did it. She did it with no physical winery, no working phone lines, no social media platforms, a barely functional website, and no ability to actually sell the wine. I know. Listen, I understand. To overcome all that adversity and turn your $15,000 business into a $5 million business, unprecedented, and we should be celebrating this. Benny Johnson with the report. It is really wild that just a little bit of digging can turn up so much information.
Official financial disclosures, and what I found was so dark and criminal. I don't know how she gets out of this without going to jail. Have a look at this. Here's Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure from the Congressional Record, year 2023. I want to bring your attention to this company right down here, Est Cru LLC. This is a winery in Santa Rosa, California. It's not doing that well. The total value of the winery is listed at $15,000, and Ilhan Omar's barely making any money off of it at all. Hardly enough to pay a parking ticket. Okay, that's fine. Nothing really mysterious there. Businesses fail all the time. But go ahead and look at her filing for 2024, and you'll find that Est Cru Winery, the same company in the same location, is now worth $5 million. That's incredible, up from $15,000. And now Ilhan Omar's making enough to pay rent. So this must be one of the most successful companies ever.
It is. And again, let me remind you, they did it without a working phone line. They did it without actually selling wine. They did it without a working website. They did it without social media. All the odds were stacked against them. Unprecedented success. Nobody seems to think this is a little bit off. Like, I don't know. Is it just me? But I feel like the AI, when you're doing your taxes, should red flag that. Should it not? Apparently it didn't for Ilhan Omar.
Let's go ahead and check in on this winery. You know, maybe we could buy some wine. I like wine. Why not? Let's see if we can buy some Est Cru Winery. Here's Est Cru's social media Facebook page. You'll see here that the last post, oh no, was in 2023. Wasn't this the year that they were supposed to, go really big and make Ilhan Omar millions of dollars? Same thing on their Instagram, and they don't have an X. So let's go ahead and check their official website. What is Est Cru? We are winemakers and memory curators, okay?
Curators.
Est Cru Winery has a bunch of brands that's led by these people. creators of eye-catching labels. So I'm sure I can go and get some of their wine, right? Well, they don't have any activities here, so maybe I could just go to their location and buy some of their wines, or maybe give them a call. Let's try and go to their location here. This is the Google Street View of Est Cru Winery.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you see the video accompanied with it. If you're listening on the radio, he pulls up Google Street View, and there is no Est Cru Winery. There's no brick and mortar. There's nothing there.
What you'll find here is an empty parking lot. Doesn't actually look like an operational business. Certainly isn't the same name. So, okay, let's go ahead and give them a call. See if maybe they pick up. Let's go ahead and call the number on the webpage.
Let's go ahead and give them a call and find out. Oh no, user busy.
So he calls the number over and over again, and it keeps saying user busy. There's no working phone number. So if you're keeping score at home, she turned a $15,000 wine business into a $5 million wine business, and she did it without a working phone number, without a working website, with no place to actually buy the wine, with no brick and mortar, and no social media presence since 2023. Now, I don't want to cast any aspersions, but I think that this is a bit of an issue, is it not? And we understand what's been going on in Minnesota. The fraud has been at an unbelievable level. We've never seen fraud in the United States of America like we've seen it in Minnesota, where Ilhan Omar represents.
What the president is referring to is the fact that you have Governor Walz and, again, the mayor, who have been encouraging these left-wing agitators to come out and to harass and to dox and to threaten ICE and to make this conversation about and smear lies about federal law enforcement, who, again, are just trying to do their jobs in an attempt to distract from the widespread, massive fraud that has taken place in their state. Billions and billions of dollars has been stolen from law-abiding taxpayers in Minnesota, and the administration continues to be very focused on getting to the bottom of it, and especially, and the president raised a good question over the weekend, with respect to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who now has a net worth within the millions, and one must ask themselves why and how is that possible?
Well, because she sold a lot of good wine, obviously. I mean, they can barely keep it on the shelves. They don't even have shelves to keep it on if they could. Obviously, she didn't do anything wrong. Come on. She was doing this on the up and up. There's nothing to worry about. Okay, so the phone calls don't go through and you can't buy anything on the website. But okay, that doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so that didn't work. Is there any wine in this wine company? Is there anything about wine? Because I see like stuff about events, but like, what is this exactly? Aren't you supposed to sell wine at your wine company? Where are your wines? Oh, there are no wines. You want to know why?
Well, good, because I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do alcohol if you are Muslim. It'd be absolutely haram. Maybe this is the best Muslim wine company we've ever seen. They just take money and they don't return any wine. Maybe. 10:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. These guys are the best. They do business the old-fashioned way. They carry products they believe in. They answer the phone. They show up when they say they will, and they build long-term relationships with their customers. They're actually doing the work that Ilhan Omar's winery claims to be doing. But they do it with safes. I love Aaron Parker, man. He's a great guy. Veteran, Air Force security, former park ranger. He knows security. And Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville offers fire-rated, theft-resistant gun safes, including UL-rated TL and TR safes built to resist tool, and torch attacks. This is perfect for your firearms, but it's also really important if you're stacking precious metals at home. If you got gold, you got silver, you got jewelry that you need to keep safe, maybe important documents, photo albums, the works. These safes will keep them safe. Talk to Aaron Parker. He and his sons handle everything, delivery and installation themselves. They serve Nashville and all the surrounding areas. Give them a call today, 931-842-6445. Or search for Parker Safes on YouTube and find a detailed breakdown on every single safe that they have in stock so you know what you're going to get before you even hit the showroom. They're always open online, parkersafes.com.
You can visit our website at WTO.
Power remains the top issue for most residents in West and Middle Tennessee. The winter storm death toll has risen here in the volunteer state. A lot of kids showing up at the emergency room because people are using generators indoors. And we've got an update on the other kind of ice coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It's 10:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Are you actually in the newsroom, or are you still at the Weaver household?
I'm in the studio, Brother Chris Hand.
Man, I can't believe that you were able to make it. I attempted to this morning.
Yeah.
But all the doors were frozen shut, Ken.
Well, fortunately for me, we have a lot of grizzly bears that live in the Greenway just across from and two of them started fighting outside my front door, and they knocked all of the ice off by bumping into it.
Wow. God bless those bears.
And then I took Fritz out, and he scared them away, and I was able to go to work.
Just so everybody in Murfreesboro knows, if you ever see Ken Weaver fighting a grizzly bear, you are instructed to help the bear, actually. It's just...
Either that or seek help.
Have you seen the YouTube chat just evolving into what kind of boxed wine we're getting from Ilhan Omar's retail store? A lot of people want to try the Malbec, the Shiraz. People are looking for the Frenzia. I don't know.
Boxed wine.
People love it. Hey, Nicole Wallace, earlier today on MSNBC, she was showing they've been using an AI edited photo of Alex Preddy. I don't know why they're using an AI edited photo of Alex Preddy on all the social media and the news sites. But we see this stuff all the time, right? Like when the Trayvon Martin stuff happened, they used a photo from him back in high school. When Renee Nicole Good weaponized her vehicle and was shot by ICE agents, they used a picture of her on the beach with her hair flowing. Apparently, Alex Preddy didn't have a good photo laying around, so they have used an AI app to retouch his photo. And Nicole Wallace, while showing this photo on MSNBC that has been edited by AI, had the nerve to say this.
This time it was 37-year-old Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse who cared for veterans. Donald Trump and his cabinet, his administration, are demanding once again that you not believe your eyes and ears.
Donald Trump and his administration are demanding that you don't believe your eyes and ears as we show you an AI-edited photo of Alex Preddy. Got it. What an absolute mess is going on here. MSNBC, MS Now. I don't mean a dead name. We don't dead name on the Chris Hand Show. MS Now. They got to get it together. What did the Minnesota Secretary of State confirm that they're doing? It has to do with voter roll data. We'll talk about that when we get back. Plus, we'll talk about the fraud that Dr. Oz is exposing. And I got some highlights from the presser with Caroline Levitt. A lot to get to, a little bit of time. Your input is always welcome. 615-737-9986. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. I got to tell you, folks, you've got to clean that ice off the roof of your cars, trucks, and vans. Because when you head out on the interstate doing about 70 miles an hour, they turn into ice missiles. I dodged a few of them on my way in this morning from Murfreesboro on 24. Clean the ice off your roof and your hoods, off of your cars completely. Again, that ice turns into ice missiles once you get on the interstate and hit about 70 miles an hour. Power remains the top issue for most residents in West and Middle Tennessee. The mid-state region still has close to 200,000 without electricity as overnight temperatures plummeted into the single digits in some places. The winter storm death toll has risen to 5. 2 of those deaths here in Davidson County. And in Haywood County, officials say a 66-year-old Brownsville man died Sunday while shoveling snow at his home. He had a heart attack. Nearly 30 children have been treated for carbon monoxide poisoning at Monroe Carroll Junior Children's Hospital during the winter storm. Hospital staff say the spike is likely tied to families using generators to stay warm during widespread power outages, which can be deadly within minutes if they're not used properly. Reminding everyone that generators should never be used indoors and must be kept at least 20 feet from doors and windows. Here's an update on the other kind of ice, calls for changes in the way ICE is operating immigration enforcement. ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott with the story.
At least 30 Republicans now demanding a full and complete and thorough investigation. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says that it's time for the White House to recalibrate their approach here. We're also hearing from Republican Congressman Mike Lawler this morning saying Americans do not want chaos.
Big changes coming to Big Brown. United Parcel Service plans another round of layoffs. UPS beat analysts' expectations in the fourth quarter of 2025, helped along by a brisk holiday shipping period. But the company's facing stiff competition from its biggest client, Amazon, which is building its own delivery infrastructure. So UPS plans to cut 30,000 positions from its payroll, mainly through attrition. And after November's crash of one of its MD-11 cargo jets in Louisville, UPS speeding up the retirement of that type of aircraft from its fleet. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeart, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. So we had an inside joke going on at the house the past couple days. I don't know if you watched any of the weather coverage. We watched a lot of the weather coverage. And Stefano De Pietro, so my 8-year-old is in the studio. He's just doing his homeschool work. He's kind of hanging in the corner, and he's just like, listening. But Stefano Di Pietro comes on and does the weather. And he mentioned this inside joke that we've had going on at the house. So if you watched weather coverage, anybody else notice Stefano keep going on the air? We're not the ones that hyped this storm up. We're not the social media guys. We didn't tell you it was going to be 30 inches of snow. We kept hearing him say that. So we started having an inside joke at the house that Stefano overhyped everyone. And I know it's cheesy, but it's just like what we do. So the weather comes on, and my 8-year-old's in the corner of the studio, and he just, under his breath, I hear him go, "Stefano hyped us up, man. Stefano hyped us up." It's just me, but this is what we do. This is what happens when we get snowed in. It is obviously Stefano De Pietro's fault. I want to talk about Minnesota. We've been talking about Minnesota a lot. J.D. Vance, Ilhan Omar, they got into it on social media. Ilhan Omar is mad that they want voter rolls. Spoiler alert, the Trump administration wants voter rolls from everywhere. We don't want dead people or illegal aliens voting. The Minnesota Secretary of State sounds a bit stressed when he talks about the Trump administration coming for the voter rolls.
So you oversee the voter rolls. What kind of information do they contain? What do you think Bondi is after? Are they going after undocumented immigrants who would vote, although I would guess there aren't that many of them, if any?
Actually, in the state of Minnesota, yes, illegal aliens can vote. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Scott Pressler laid it out. Same-day voter registration, no ID required. You just need somebody to vouch for you. Minnesota Secretary of State takes it from here.
Well, here's what they want. They don't just want the public stuff, which anyone can get, name, address, voting history, stuff like that. What they want is very personal, private, sensitive data on millions of people, namely social security numbers, driver's license numbers, military service history where applicable. And this is already in litigation. Like, we're in court on this right now. They've asked for this information from dozens of states. The vast majority, like Minnesota, have said no. There are multiple lawsuits going on, including in Minnesota right now. So that's what makes this particularly puzzling. Why they want it? That's a good question. That's sort of key to the legal arguments here. Our legal position all along, before this weekend ransom note from the Attorney General, was that state and federal law don't permit them to get this data. And so what she's basically asking us for in this letter is to hand something over which we think the law precludes her from getting under these circumstances.
Why do they want this data? I don't know. It could be anything. We have no idea why they would want our voter roll information. Again, we know exactly why they want the voter roll information. It's because they believe that there's some voting irregularities, shall we say, in the state of Minnesota, don't you know? That maybe just maybe, dead people are voting. Maybe, perhaps, illegal aliens are voting. Maybe not. Maybe they get the voter roll data and it looks great. And they go, wow, actually, we're pleasantly surprised. You guys did a top-notch job on your voter rolls. What issue do you have with giving this to the federal government? I unless you're trying to cover up some sort of fraud, I have a hard time seeing where the disconnect is. Can anybody explain it to me? Unless you have illegal aliens and dead people voting in your elections, what would be the holdup providing the federal government with this information? Now, I understand the state of Minnesota is Democrat, orange man bad. Maybe that's the holdup. Oh, Trump said he wants it, so we can't do it. Maybe. But I think that the holdup is a bit more nefarious than that, and I think only time will tell when we get our hands on that information. In the meantime, Minnesota is an absolute mess. Another tragic shooting over the weekend. Caroline Leavitt addressed this at her press conference yesterday. This is the press secretary of the Trump administration yesterday in the press briefing room.
I would also like to address the chaotic scenes in the weekend. Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good, Alex Preddy, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals. Saturday's shooting remains under active investigation by Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI. The Customs and Border Protection is also conducting their own internal review. As President Trump said yesterday, the administration is reviewing everything with respect to the shooting, and we will let that investigation play out.
And it does look right now, from the outside looking in, and I could be wrong, but it does look like Greg Bovino is taking the fall for a lot of what happened in Minnesota over the weekend. I think that is bovine scatology. You can point to Greg Bovino on social media and say maybe that's why he's been reassigned, but Greg Bovino is out of Minnesota. He is no longer the Border Patrol commander in that area. He is back to California. There are rumors that he is also going to be retiring relatively soon. Only time will tell if those reports are real or not. But it does feel like Bovino is taking the fall here. I'm not of the opinion that Bovino did anything wrong. I also think Tom Homan's going to come in and do a great job. But we do know that Bovino has been moved out. Homan has been moved in. There's also a lot of reports about Kristi Noem taking the fall for what happened over the weekend in Minnesota with the shooting of Alex Preddy. But I would just say I don't think either of them have to take the fall. Alex Preddy injected himself into an ICE operation while he was armed. He played stupid games and he won stupid prizes. I wish he wasn't shot and killed, but he didn't have to be there in the first place, and he wouldn't have been shot and killed. Caroline Levitt continues on the chaos in Minnesota.
But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota.
Exactly.
For weeks, Governor Walz and the Mayor Jacob Frey and other elected Democrats were spreading lies about federal law enforcement officers who are risking their lives daily to remove the worst criminal illegal aliens from our streets: murderers, rapists, pedophiles, human traffickers, and gang members. Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE, actively inhibiting efforts to arrest violent criminals. They have also used their platforms to encourage left-wing agitators to stalk, record, confront, and obstruct federal officers who are just trying to lawfully perform their duties, which has created dangerous situations threatening both these officers and the general public and Minnesotans alike.
And if I was Tim Walz or Mayor Jacob Frey, you'd want to get a handle on the signal chats that are going around with those ICE Watch patrols. There's a lot of rumors that certain high-ranking Democrat officials are in those chats impeding and obstructing ICE operations in Minnesota. There are rumors that Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan is an admin in one of those chats, though take it with a grain of salt. Nobody's 100% confident on that yet, but you have former PR managers for Tim Walz in these chats. A lot of high-ranking Democrats, state representatives talking about these chats. Minnesota is not exactly handling this situation correctly. And I think that is an understatement. And it needs to be handled quickly. Hopefully, Tom Homan can get in there and do something. And hopefully, Governor Walz is willing to work with them after the phone call that he had with President Trump yesterday.
It is President Trump's hope and wish in chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number one, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation.
That should be the floor on cooperating. It was revealed that last year there was 470 illegal alien criminals that were released from Minnesota prisons and jails that had ICE holds and detainers placed on them that they just ignored. 470. More than one a day. I'm sure Minnesota's a safer place because of it.
Number two, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes.
Again, this shouldn't be a big ask. Asking local authorities to help you with an illegal alien who is a rapist or a murderer or a gang member, that's the floor. That's like the bare minimum. Will they do it? I mean, hey, Walz was on the phone with Trump. Frey was on the phone with Trump. We're going to have a meeting between Mayor Jacob Frey and Tom Homan today. Maybe it does. I don't want to look at this situation and just be negative from the jump, although past experiences make me lean that way. I hope that it's resolved, and if anybody can do it, it would be Trump and it would be Homan.
If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding citizens only, not for dangerous illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning.
Let's hope and let's pray that that's the case. But let's prepare and be ready for it not to be. And I think Tom Homan is going to go in with both of those directives secure. If you want to work with us, great. That makes things easy. If you don't want to work with us, great. We'll continue doing it on our own. I pray they take the first option. I do. I don't think anybody wants to see the chaos that we're seeing in Minnesota. It's only happening in Minnesota because of the Democrat rule. Maybe if we get a little bit more cooperation with those Dems, we can put an end to the chaos. Hopefully. I don't want to see any more Americans dying, and I don't want to see any more Americans putting themselves in the line of fire, which is exactly what happened with Alex Preddy, exactly what happened with Renee Nicole Good, and they'll tell us, oh, this is a violation of the First Amendment. Oh, Alex Preddy, yeah, he had a gun, but it was the Second Amendment. Nobody's arguing either of those things. You were allowed your First Amendment. You're allowed your Second Amendment. But you guys are crossing the line. And Caroline Leavitt pointed that out yesterday.
Fran.
Caroline, is it the White House's right to show up to these ICE operations and film, document, or protest the law enforcement actions?
All Americans have a First Amendment constitutional right, of course, but Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede and obstruct lawful immigration enforcement operations. That is actually a crime, and it's something that we've seen taking place in the streets of Minneapolis, which again is leading to these dangerous circumstances that these federal law enforcement officers have been forced to work with.
Nailed it. Nobody has an issue with your First Amendment. Nobody has an issue with your protests. The issue is when you block traffic for 4 minutes with your vehicle and then weaponize the vehicle and try and run over an ICE agent. The issue is not that you showed up to a protest or that you showed up to a protest armed. The issue was when you interjected and put yourself in the middle of an ICE enforcement operation between an ICE agent and a suspect. That's where the issue arose. Everybody looking at this clear-headed understands exactly what time it is with these immigration enforcement operations and the protesters. And if the protesters want to be able to go home, just like the ICE agents do, stay out of their way. Don't interject. Don't create an issue that doesn't need to be there. This is day one stuff. Blow your whistle, shout from the side, hold your sign that George Soros paid for. That's fine. Nobody's mad at that. It's when you cross the line into obstruction and impeding that things get dicey. And when things get dicey, all bets are off as to how it gets resolved. Maybe it's just handcuffs. Maybe it's worse. I pray that Walz and Frey do actually work with the Trump administration on this, and I pray that they do so with the intention of alleviating some of the pressure that we've seen in Minnesota. It's 11:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Glock Store. I've been talking about these guys for years. I love the Glock Store. It's a great place to shop. It's a better place to train. And have you heard about the latest Glocks that they have in stock? I'm sure you have by now. The Gen 6. These are the ones with the new optic system, the RTF6 texturing, the enlarged beaver tail, the flat face trigger, the trigger guard undercut. These things are the most refined Glocks stock Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock store received their first shipment. They got the G17s, the G19s, the G45s, and they were literally gone before they even got there because the Glock store is letting you pre-order these new bad boys, so you'll be one of the first ones to get your hands on them. And as a thank you for your pre-order, you mention my name at the store, at the Glock store, say, I heard this on the Chris Hand Show. When you pick up your new Gen 6 Glock, you'll get a free extra magazine just by mentioning the show. So go down there, check out the Gen 6 Glock in the rental department. If you like what you see, feel, and shoot, place your pre-order. Tell them you heard about it on the Chris Hand Show, and when your Glock comes in, they'll throw in that extra magazine. This is a limited time only offer and only from the Glock store. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, always open online, glockstore.com.
All right, electricity remains the top issue for most residents in West and Middle Tennessee when it comes to the winter storm. We have some more deaths to report, unfortunately. Also, a Florida Republican congressman has decided to retire, and major tech companies like Meta, YouTube, and TikTok facing a lawsuit from a user who said they addicted her. Details at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It is 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if I ever want to leave the home studio ever again.
That's good-looking home studio. That's good-looking home studio there, Brother Chris.
Thank you. But the perks, Ken. It's about the perks.
Yes, sir.
So earlier in the show, my 8-year-old brings me hot cocoa. Mason never does that. Okay?
Listen.
And then just a moment ago, my 3-year-old, I don't know if you guys can see this on the stream, my 3-year-old made me a nice little bracelet.
Well, what do you know about that?
Do you know how much jewelry Mason has made for me since we've been working together for what, like a year and a half, almost 2 years?
Almost 2 years.
I'd venture to say 0.
He's made me no jewelry, Ken.
Man.
You know what? Tomorrow when you come in, I'm going to bring you 2 silver bracelets and lock you to that chair.
Here's the thing. I shouldn't have to ask for it, Mason. It's not special anymore if I have to ask for it. So we're having a good time at the home studio. Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace. That's what you decided to call it.
That's the best option so far.
I like it.
Still think it's too English.
I'll be honest with you. Like I've been trying not to text Jay Harper during the show because he's the one that came up with Murphy-Lago.
So good.
And I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous that I don't have a cool name. I got a bracelet though. I got a heck of a bracelet.
You do, man. And you had a hot cup of cocoa.
Oh man, we got the cocoa was money. The marshmallows were massive.
Yes, sir.
I said, son. So this is an occupational hazard. I got to go talk on the radio. I can't have a marshmallow this big. He said, Dad, you know what he said to me? He said, Dad, I'll handle that marshmallow for you. I said, what a guy. Top notch. On the way, man, we got a lot to talk about in the lightning round, and we're going to get to as much of it as we can. I'm not sure I'll be able to do all of it, but before we get to the lightning round, I do want to tell you this one story. Remember how we had the report from Radar Online that Bad Bunny was going to wear a dress at the Super Bowl halftime show? Apparently, they had said in the report, the NFL doesn't even know what's coming, and they can't stop it. Apparently, the NFL found out what's coming, and they have stopped it, because there's a new report that Bad Bunny will not be wearing a dress during the Super Bowl halftime show. Sanity prevails. A report now says that, contrary to previous claims, Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny won't be wearing a dress at the Super Bowl halftime performance after all. Reports on Friday claimed that the rapper would wear a dress to put a thumb in the eye of those who criticize his support for the Alphabet Mafia community, and that his halftime performance would be a tribute to gay icons. And they said, we don't care what the NFL thinks. So apparently the NFL heard about it, because now they're saying, well, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go that far. And I almost feel like it's just as bad, because we all know you want to. And that's a bit of an issue as well. Despite the backlash, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has defended the rapper and even oddly claimed that the rapper show will unite America. Is that what you think of when you hear Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, with or without a dress, that it'll be a uniting performance? Goodell said, it's carefully thought through. I'm not sure we've ever selected an artist where we didn't have some blowback or criticism. It's pretty hard to do when you have literally hundreds of millions of people that are watching. We're confident it's going to be a great show. He understands the platform that he's on, and I think it's going to be an exciting and a united moment. It'll be a lot more unifying with the fact that he's not wearing a dress, though many of those pictures are available online, in case you were a bit bummed out when you heard the news that the dress would not be included at this year's Super Bowl halftime show. On the way, we got the lightning round on deck for you. I got a lot of great stories, including a brand new virus coming out of India that I'm very excited to tell you about. Who wants to quarantine? Are you essential? We're going to ask the hard questions when we get back. It's 11:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Power remains the top issue for most residents in West and Middle Tennessee. The mid-state region still has close to 200,000 without electricity as overnight temperatures dip into the single digits. State health officials now confirm 5 weather-related deaths from this week's winter storm, 2 in Davidson County, but they're not giving us details. We do know that in Haywood County, a 66-year-old man died after suffering a heart attack while shoveling snow. Tennessee Emergency Management Agency says the State Emergency Operations Center remains fully activated. Crews have deployed hundreds of warming supplies and cots to support communities dealing with winter weather. TEMA also has moved 700 gallons of gasoline, 1,500 gallons of diesel to where they're needed most. Officials say teams are working around the clock to help local responders keep people safe. Florida Republican Congressman Vern Buchanan says he's going to retire at the end of his term, wrapping up nearly 20 years in D.C. Buchanan becomes the 28th House Republican to step aside ahead of the 2026 elections. His district is considered safely Republican. And major tech companies like Meta, YouTube, and TikTok are facing a lawsuit from a user who says she became addicted to social media at a young age.
The California case is expected to last about 6 weeks and will feature testimony from major Silicon Valley figures like Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. It's one of several bellwether cases, which are designed to inform the judgments or settlements of similar cases against social media firms. There's about 1,500 of them at the state level and another grouping at the federal level. The bellwether cases for those will be heard in the spring.
Top tech companies say they're taking strides to make sure kids don't get the negative effects of social media, and they say that they can't be held responsible for content posted by other users. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Better Water LLC. If you're tired of weird smells, stains, or just plain old bad tasting water at your house or at your office, these are the people you need to call. My girl Brandy is going to take care of you. Think of it as like installing a giant Brita filter for your whole house, or scaling one down that fits right underneath the sink. They handle everything. You could have some nasty stuff in your water: sulfur, iron, chlorine, bacteria, even E. coli. Now, here's the best part. Better Water will come to your home and test your water for free. They're doing that with my house this week. They can do it for your house. And if you have any of the nasty stuff in your water, well, they got a bunch of options, from reverse osmosis, specialized filters, UV lights. Better Water has you covered, and they'll clean that water up. Local company based out of Smyrna, and you've probably already tasted their work and you had no idea. See, they're treating all the water at the coffee shops and the hospitals around town. These guys are the pros. They've been doing the work for 55 years now, and the average employee stays with Better Water for 17 years. These guys are the best. Stop drinking the junk out of your tap. Call Better Water today. 615-355-6063, 615-355-6063, or find them online, betterwater.com. It's 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. We got Mason Fleming producing the show. We got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. You guys in the YouTube chat, the Rumble chat, and on the text line and the phone line, 615-737-9986. Dude, I'm so excited. I have so many good stories, so I don't even want to keep you guys waiting. You know what time it is, right? It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
I did the little dance. Mason, did you see me do the dance?
I see the dance. I'm
at the home studio, but I'm still dancing whenever the lightning round music comes on. I got a story here for you in the lightning round. This is a good one. I'm actually very excited about this story. It's about a virus that everybody's afraid of that's coming out of Asian countries.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. It's called the Nipah virus. Nipah, please.
You've been waiting to say that, haven't you?
Since like last night. Asian countries are on high alert after cases of the deadly Nipah virus were detected in West Bengal, India. Why does these viruses always come from these kinds of countries and not like, I don't know, like we never hear of like a deadly virus emerging from Rhode Island? Is it the running water? It's probably the running water. The zoonotic virus can spread between animals and people, mostly fruit, bats, and pigs, with mild to severe symptoms from fevers to brain infection and death. Is that okay? Mild to severe symptoms, fevers to brain infection and death. I think that is mild to severe, if I've ever heard it. This is according to Cleveland Clinic. 5 people have contracted the Nipah virus, the Thai government confirmed. India's National Center for Disease Control has also confirmed the outbreak, writing, "It is not major and is limited to 2 districts in the country." Where have we heard that before? It's nothing. And then the entire world shuts down. And then we're like, dude, this is nothing. And they're like, no, this is the most dangerous virus ever. Maybe this is what we're looking at. Countries in the region are on high alert, with health officials implementing tracking and prevention rules similar to those implemented during the COVID pandemic. Thailand's Department of Disease Control, TDDC, issued a press release on Friday to emphasize that the measures are in place to monitor and screen travelers at international communicable disease control checkpoints. Measures have been taken to monitor travelers, the release continued. If travelers are found with a high fever or have symptoms compatible with Nipah virus, additional screening will be done at the International Communicable Disease Control Checkpoint. Travelers must share their travel history and possible exposure link. If they have symptoms, they disclose those symptoms and the date they began. The TDDC Director General warned that the virus can cause neurological symptoms and has a relatively high death rate. It's exciting. Anybody else excited about this new pandemic? My 8-year-old is like off in the corner doing his homeschool work, and is anybody excited about the new pandemic? And I just see an arm go up in the back of the room. He's very excited. Just don't say Nipah, please. Precautions such as washing fruits before consumption, drinking chlorinated and boiled water, and wearing protective clothing whenever handling or cleaning animals and sheds are among those listed. So, just another pandemic. Nothing to worry about. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. This one's actually really fun. I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this. William Shakespeare was actually a black woman. Oh. I was told this for the first time last night. But it has to be true, and if you have an issue with it, you're obviously a bigot. So chill with the racial hatred, brother.
What's your source?
It's not what we do here. William Shakespeare was actually a black woman. Hold on. Let me dial that back. A black Jewish woman. This is according to a new book. I don't. Do people really do this? The real playwright is identified as historical figure Emilia Bassano, the real Shakespeare. Oh. She was a poet with connections to the Tudor court and wrote the Shakespearean canon of plays using the pen name Shakespeare, according to the book. but her work is said to have been stolen by an uneducated interloper, William Shakespeare. Ugh. We can't keep letting him get away with this. Shakespeare stole everything. Midsummer's Night Dream to Romeo and Juliet from a black Jewish woman, and I'm tired of anybody pretending that he did this on his own. Okay? Obviously, he stole it. Obviously. The book's author, Irene Coslet, argues that the idea of a white genius was preferred to Bassano's identity as a black Jewish female playwright. She was the mistress of Henry Carey, 1st Baron Hudson, Elizabeth I, Lord Chamberlain, and patron of the Lord Chamberlain's Men, the theater troupe Shakespeare made famous. Some writers believe that she may be the inspiration for the Dark Lady addressed in Shakespeare's sonnets. During Shakespeare's own lifetime, his authorship was never questioned, and he was even hailed as a genius for all time by his rival Ben Jonson. Well, turns out he wasn't a genius at all. He was just a thief, stealing from a black Jewish woman.
Ah.
Of course. Hey, what are white people good at? Stealing. Stealing land. Stealing playwrights, obviously.
Obviously.
The playwright's background as a humble man from Warwickshire with little formal education has further led some to question how he ascended to become a literary genius. Well, he didn't ascend at all. He stole it from a black Jewish woman, obviously. This is addressed in Miss Coslet's book, where she writes, historians have not managed to explain how the Stratford man, a semi-illiterate moneylender, managed to gain such a level of erudition. In contrast to Shakespeare, Miss Coslet claims that Bassano gained the necessary expertise from her diverse identity as a Jew and a Moor, a person of North African origin who also had family ties to Venice. So, just in case you're keeping score at home, and we didn't lose you yet, Shakespeare was an evil racist who stole everything from a black Jewish woman. And that black Jewish woman should be celebrated. Got it? Got it. Okay. Got a time for another story for you here in the lightning round. This one's insane. I'm not even lying with you guys. If you're not watching on the stream, you should be. Turns out there was a skyscraper, and this was the tallest building in where was it? What country was it? South Korea, right? South Korea? Taiwan. The Taipei 101 building. This guy, Alex Honhold, said he was paid an embarrassing amount of money to climb to the top of it with no harness, no safety net, none of it. He just climbed this building, this skyscraper, barehanded. It's a 1,667-foot tall tower, and he climbed it in an hour and a half. Spider-Man. This guy is an absolute freak of nature. I don't know how you could do that. My hands would have been way too sweaty. If you're watching on the stream, you see, I mean, he's got chalk-doused hands. But the New York Times wanted to know how much he got paid. And they asked him, is this your biggest payday? And he said, maybe, but I would do it for free. They said, how much are you getting paid? He said, I'm not going to say. It's an embarrassing amount, but if you put it into the context of mainstream sports, I guess it's an embarrassingly small amount. And New York Times said, 10? With a question mark. He goes, million? They went, yeah. He goes, no. In that case, yeah, an embarrassingly small amount. He's paid around $500,000 to climb to the top of this skyscraper, barehanded. Everybody's just watching and freaking out. I don't know what kind of training went into this. I assume that he's a bit crazy, rather insane. Even my 8-year-old popped over here. It's nuts, right? He's just climbing up this skyscraper by himself. Wild story. Apparently it's coming out on Netflix. There's going to be a whole Netflix documentary about it. So does it ruin the Netflix documentary? Maybe this is just me. Knowing that he made it out alive, is there a reason to watch the Netflix documentary? Is that bad? Is that wrong? I feel like there's an element of surprise. Like, he might not make it. But now that I know that he did make it, I don't really have any interest in the documentary. What about you, Mason? Are you going to watch the documentary?
I probably won't. Same reasons. I was like, I mean, you could make up your own fantasy about it and be like, I don't think he did. Right? I think they're lying to us.
Once you know he made it, meh.
Maybe it's AI.
It'd be like an Evel Knievel jumping the Grand Canyon back in the day. Like, if I knew he was going to clear it, then there's no reason to watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's more impressive in the moment type thing.
Yeah, it is an impressive feat. I don't know what he was doing. I got time for one more story here in the lightning round. We'll do one city and a tale of two announcers for this lightning round story, okay? Vikings announcer Paul Allen taking a few days off after calling Minneapolis anti-ICE activists paid protesters. This is crazy. He got a lot of online backlash, and I'm just going to read you the comments because it doesn't seem as egregious as one would think, where you'd have to take a couple days off to get your head right. The controversy began on Friday when Allen and his co-host, former Vikings linebacker Chad Greenway, discussed the internet-fueled myth of trees exploding due to extreme cold. At which point, Allen, the Vikings announcer Paul Allen, said, "In conditions like this, do paid protesters get hazard pay?" That was it. That was the extent of his comments. That was it. They said, everybody's catching strays this week. Brian Flores, Kevin Stefanski, Baker Mayfield, Charlie caught one out of nowhere. They're just all over. Paid protesters caught one this morning. They all laugh it off. No big deal. But then the internet does what the internet does, and there's all sorts of backlash driven primarily by sports media sites, Breitbart reports, and this guy has to apologize and announce that he's taking a few days off. He said, "I made a comment on air Friday about protesters and the weather that was insensitive and poorly timed. I'm sorry." This is why would you apologize? Never apologize. Never apologize. Your joke, it wasn't that funny. Maybe apologize for your joke not being that funny, but just don't apologize to these leftists. He said it was a misguided attempt at humor, and while it was never meant with any ill intent or political affront, I absolutely and wholeheartedly want to apologize to those who genuinely were hurt or offended by it. 9 to noon doesn't formulate political opinions. We don't bash or praise political discussions or even focus on political issues. Soft. Absolutely soft. Never apologize. Never apologize. Because they don't care about your apology. When you apologize, they just see you as weak. That's it. Never apologize for that stuff. Now, in the same city, other side of the coin, they held a moment of silence for Alex Preddy at the Minnesota Timberwolves game, and the fans erupted in a chant of F ICE during their moment of silence for domestic terror suspect Alex Preddy. F ICE. No apologies issued by the Minnesota Timberwolves. No hand-wringing or pearl-clutching done by the sports writers on this one. No. Only when you correctly insinuate that the protesters are getting paid, is there an issue. You can chant F ICE, you can chant that they're Nazis, you can chant that they're Gestapo, and then that's fine. That's fine. The announcer also during the moment of silence at the Minnesota Timberwolves game claimed Preddy's death was a tragic loss. They said, "Target Center, we are heartbroken by the tragic loss of Alex Preddy that occurred yesterday in Minneapolis. We extend our love, support, and heartfelt sympathies to Alex's family, friends, and our community during this difficult time." The insanity never ends. Alex Preddy was a member of Ice Watch. Alex Preddy showed up to a protest to cause trouble. Alex Preddy messed around and found out. Wish he didn't die, but I also wish he didn't impede and obstruct. That does it for today's edition of the Lightning Round. It's 11:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In a mere moment, we'll check in with Chad Benson to see what he's got coming up for you today on the Chad Benson Show right here on Super Talk. 11:56, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Now, I would never judge another man's Let's Go. I wouldn't do that. Chad might. He's in studio. What's up, Chad? How are you?
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm good, brother. I see that you're taking advantage of staying home.
I tried to make it. Everything's still frozen shut here in Murfreesboro.
Oh, is it now?
Everything.
You know, when I left here yesterday, I was telling Ken and the guys, the walk is way more treacherous than the drive right now.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yes.
I mean, dude, I almost busted my rear end just taking the dogs out this morning.
Yeah. Ken's dog doesn't like going out.
No,
Just
I
to
don't
let you
blame
guys.
him.
My dogs, by the way, is just not a fan. They're like, nope, I don't care what kind of coat you got us. I'm not doing this.
Dude, my dog wiped out on the snow yesterday and totally just ripped out one of his nails, like trying to get traction. Dude, there's so much blood everywhere. I'm like, thank you, Zero Res. We're gonna need you. It looks like an O.J. Simpson kind of thing over here now.
Oh man, that sucks. So how bad is it there?
I mean, I don't know. To be honest with you, I just took advantage of getting another day from the home studio.
No, that's totally fine.
Because that's what you do. I don't know. It doesn't seem too bad. Everybody's saying that the main roads are fine and that you can kind of venture out and do your thing.
How were did you guys lose, anybody still missing power over there? You got trees down, houses busted up?
I mean, there's definitely trees down. I haven't seen any houses busted up, and full disclosure, I haven't left the neighborhood since the snow started falling. So we're in a bit of a snow globe here. We don't see anything outside our walls.
Did you come up with a name for your studio yet?
So the one that's kind of leading the pack has been Buckingham Palace.
I like that one.
But I still feel like there's room for improvement.
I like that one. I mean, look, I like that, but there's plenty of them out there. I'm sure somebody's going to come up with one. You're going to try to do it one more time?
Maybe. We'll see. I feel like I'm missing something by not being in the studio.
Yeah, you know what, man? I got to be honest with you. There's like 5 of us in the building.
Okay.
It really is. There's 5 of us in the building, and that's about it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll do one more day from Buckingham
Palace. I walked through the
Palace.
sales, and not a soul there.
Yeah,
not a soul.
Not shocked. Not shocked in the least. What do you got coming up today on the show? Are you going to be talking about the Nipah virus? Everybody's talking about the Nipah virus.
Yeah, I might talk a little about the nipple virus.
Okay, good.
We might do a little bit of that because there is no cure for it. So once you get one nipple, the way it goes. I'm like, what animal do I have to eat to get this? If you guys eat a panda bear, this is what happens. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the lawsuit, the case of social media. It's happening today. They're going to start the jury selection, and this, they're saying, is the biggest, most consequential case since Big Tobacco.
Let's go. I'm here for it, and I'm excited to see what happens with that case. Chad Benson is in next. He's taking things over from here. Appreciate you guys tuning into the show. As always, hit like, hit subscribe on your way out. We got a lot more Super Talk for you all day long right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.